Welcome back, everyone. Ready to ditch the textbooks and dive headfirst into real-world English?
Absolutely. Today we're all about practical scenarios you can actually use.
Think of it as your personalized crash course, covering everything from ordering a coffee to navigating a doctor's appointment. We're going way beyond the usual grammar rules.
Instead of getting lost in all those technicalities, we'll give you the tools to communicate effectively and confidently in all sorts of situations.
Exactly. We're focusing on practical phrases and real-life dialogue that'll get you speaking with confidence, not just memorizing rules.
Ready to jump right in?
Absolutely. Let's get started. Our first scenario is all about conquering the coffee shop. Picture this. You're in a bustling cafe, the aroma of freshly ground coffee beans fills the air.
You're craving that perfect latte, but how do you order it with style, not just with, basic English?
We want to sound natural and confident, like we belong there.
So instead of just blurting out, I'll have a latte, try something like, could I get a latte, please?
It's such a simple change, but it adds a touch of politeness that can go a long way.
Especially in a busy environment. And if you want to customize your order, don't be shy.
Absolutely. Let's say you're feeling adventurous and want almond milk instead of regular. How would you ask for that?
You could say, is it possible to get that with almond milk? Or even, could I try that with almond milk, please?
Perfect. It shows you're not just reciting phrases from a textbook, but actually engaging in a real conversation.
Exactly. And don't forget those little extras that make your order truly yours.
Oh, you mean like adding a delicious pastry to go with that latte?
Precisely. Instead of just pointing and saying, that one, try something like, and I'll take a blueberry muffin as well.
It's all about those small tweaks that make a big difference in how you sound and how confident you feel.
You're not just ordering, you're having a mini conversation, practicing those English skills with every word.
It's like a fluency workout, disguised as a coffee break. Alright, scenario number 2 takes us to a new city. You've just arrived, excited to explore, but maybe a little unsure of where to go.
This is where those essential asking for directions skills come in. It's something everyone needs at some point, especially in a new place.
Instead of panicking and wandering aimlessly, what's the best way to approach someone for help?
Start with a friendly, excuse me, could you point me towards the train station, please?
That's so much better than just blurting out train station.
It's polite, clear, and shows you're making an effort to communicate effectively. And here's a pro tip. Don't be afraid to clarify if something isn't clear.
Yeah, sometimes those directions can be a bit tricky to follow, especially in a place you're not familiar with.
Exactly. So instead of nodding along and hoping for the best, try something like, so I walk 2 blocks and then turn right at the clock tower. Did I get that right?
It shows you're actively listening and making sure you understand correctly. And
it turns those potentially confusing directions into another opportunity to practice your English.
I love that. Alright, let's fast forward to the end of a long travel day. You finally arrived at your hotel, ready to relax and unwind.
It's time to check in with ease, and we're not talking about just mumbling your name at the front desk.
No way. We want to make a good impression and practice those English skills while we're at it.
Exactly. Instead of just saying your name, try something like, good evening, I have a reservation under the name, your name.
It's so much more polished and professional. And what if they ask for confirmation or details about your stay?
Instead of one-word answers, why not use it as a chance to practice? You could say something like, yes, that's correct, I'm staying for 3 nights.
It keeps the conversation flowing and shows you're comfortable using English.
And speaking of keeping things comfortable, don't be afraid to ask those little questions that can make your stay even better.
Oh, you mean things like breakfast times or if the hotel has a gym?
Exactly. Instead of wondering or searching for the information yourself, simply ask, could you tell me what time breakfast is served? Or, is there a gym available for guests?
I love those examples. It's all about being proactive and making the most of those interactions to practice your English.
And you might even discover some hidden gems in the hotel that you wouldn't have known about otherwise.
It's a win-win situation. Now let's move on to a scenario that we've all faced at some point. Returning a purchase.
It doesn't have to be a dreaded experience. With the right phrases, you can handle it smoothly and confidently.
So what's the best way to approach the situation? Should we just walk up and say, I want to return this?
That's a bit too direct. Instead, try a more polite approach like, hello, I'd like to return this jacket. It's not the right size for me.
That's so much better. It's clear and to the point, but also courteous. And what if you're not sure about the store's return policy?
Don't be afraid to ask. Instead of assuming or guessing, you could inquire, could you please explain your return policy? Or, what are my options if I don't have the receipt?
It shows you're taking responsibility and trying to understand their procedures.
Exactly. And it's another opportunity to practice your English in a real-life situation.
All right, let's shift gears and step into the world of teamwork. Scenario number 5 is all about project progress check-ins.
Communication is key in any collaborative setting, especially when working on projects with others.
So how do we make sure we're staying on track and communicating effectively with our colleagues?
Instead of relying solely on emails or quick messages, try a more personal approach. Imagine you're checking in with a teammate on a project. Instead of just saying, how's it going? You could say something like, hey Sarah, how's the project coming along? Is there anything I can do to help?
It's such a simple gesture, but it shows you're not just focused on the task, but also on your teammates' well-being and the overall success of the project.
Exactly. It fosters a more collaborative and supportive work environment.
And it's another chance to practice those conversational skills in English. Now, let's face it, doctor's appointments can be nerve-wracking, even in your native language. So how do we handle those doctor's visits with confidence and communicate effectively?
Being prepared is key. Before your appointment, take some time to think about your symptoms and how you might describe them in English.
That's a great tip. Sometimes it's hard to put those feelings into words, especially when you're not feeling well.
Right, so when the doctor asks, what brings you in today? Instead of just saying I'm sick, try something more specific like, I've been feeling unwell for the past few days with a fever and a sore throat.
I love how you're not just stating the problem, you're providing context and details. And what if the doctor uses medical terms you don't understand?
Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. You could say something like, excuse me, could you explain that in simpler terms? Or, I'm not familiar with that term, could you tell me what it means?
It's so important to advocate for yourself and make sure you understand everything that's being said. Now it's time to unleash our inner social butterflies with scenario number 7. Being able to make and accept invitations is a crucial part of any language.
It's all about navigating social situations with grace and confidence. Imagine you're inviting someone to a casual get-together. Instead of just saying, come to my party, try a more inviting approach like, hey, we're having a barbecue on Saturday, would you like to join us? It's going to be very relaxed, just good food and good company.
I love how you're painting a picture with your words. It makes the invitation so much more enticing. And what if you're on the receiving end of an invitation?
Instead of a simple yes or no, you can express your enthusiasm with something like, that sounds lovely, I'd love to come. Or if you can't make it, you could say, thank you so much for the invitation, I wish I could make it, but I have a prior commitment.
Those small additions make such a difference in how you come across. It shows you're genuinely interested and appreciate the invitation. Okay, are we ready to book that dream vacation? It's time for scenario number 8.
Let's pack our bags and get ready for takeoff. Booking a flight can seem daunting, but with the right vocabulary and a confident attitude, it's a breeze.
I'm ready to conquer those travel anxieties and practice my English at the same time. So what's the best way to approach a travel agent or an online booking platform?
Instead of just blurting out, I want a ticket to Paris, try a more professional and informative approach. Hello, I'd like to inquire about flights to Paris next month. Could you tell me about the available options?
That sounds so much more polished and organized. And what about those specific details like departure dates and seat preferences?
Don't be afraid to be specific. Instead of just saying, any day is fine, try something like, I'm flexible with the dates, but ideally would like to depart sometime between the 10th and the 15th. And if you have any window seats available, I'd love to snag one.
It's amazing how those little details can make a big difference in your travel experience.
And it shows the travel agent that you're serious about booking a trip.
Now, let's move on to scenario number 9. Teamwork makes the dream work. We all know how important collaboration and communication are in a team setting.
Especially when brainstorming ideas or working on a project together.
So how can we make sure our voices are heard and we're contributing effectively in English?
Instead of staying silent or just agreeing with others, try actively participating in the conversation. For example, if someone suggests an idea you like, you could say, I like that idea. And maybe we could also try your suggestion. Or if you have a different approach, don't be afraid to say, what if we tried a different approach, such as your idea?
Those are great ways to show your engagement and contribute to the discussion. And what if you're not sure about something or need clarification?
Asking questions is a sign of intelligence, not weakness. Instead of pretending to understand, try something like, could you explain that a bit further? Or, I'm not sure I follow. Could you give an example?
I love that. It shows you're actively listening and trying to understand the concepts fully.
It's all about creating a positive and collaborative team environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts and ideas.
And now, for our final adventure. Scenario number 10, adventure awaits. Let's pretend we're planning a fun outing with friends, maybe a hike or a camping trip. How can we make sure everyone's on the same page and ready for an amazing time?
Planning and communication are key. Instead of just saying, let's go hiking, try a more detailed approach. Hey, I'm thinking of going hiking this weekend. Would you be interested in joining me? We could try that new trail we were talking about.
I love how you're not just stating an activity, you're inviting them to be part of the experience. And what about those important logistical details?
Be sure to mention things like the meeting time, location, and what to bring. You could say something like, let's meet at the park entrance at 8 a.m. Don't forget to wear comfortable shoes and bring plenty of water.
It's amazing how a little planning and clear communication can make all the difference in ensuring a fun and successful outing.
And it's another great opportunity to practice your English skills while having a blast with your friends.
So there you have it, 10 real-life scenarios, countless opportunities to practice your English, and a whole lot of confidence gained along the way.
We've barely scratched the surface, though. In our next segment, we'll put these phrases into action with some fun role-playing activities.